on it being an inside job, or I was probably 60-40 actually thinking it was probably Tyler Robinson. But there's clearly oddities in the case. So at the very least, you should be like, hey, let's investigate his furry tranny boyfriend network. Because at the very least, they're probably involved. But these guys are like, don't ask any questions. It was Tyler Robinson. He acted alone. And it doesn't make sense. It's just the way they're acting, that's when I started being like, okay, this is a cover up. They're trying to cover this shit up. And like I said, I didn't even know this. I haven't followed that closely. But Candace said like his DNA is the most degraded out of multiple people on it. It was 90 degrees that day, 91 degrees. He was holding the rifle. His DNA wouldn't be fucking degraded. It just doesn't add up. And people like Andrew Wilson, you can tell he doesn't even care about the case. He's just doing it for money and clout. So he's on there to argue about something he doesn't even know about. I think it was apparent that Candace was like passionate about it. She was a friend of Charlie. She cares deeply about it versus this fucking grifter being paid to argue that Tyler Robinson acted alone.
And it's not incumbent upon us, the people doubting the mainstream narrative, to prove it. It's like, this is Andrew Wilson's argument. They're saying, well, if it's a cover up, then how come the government didn't release any evidence? Well, nothing makes sense from the narrative they're presenting us, so I'm allowed to doubt it. I don't have to prove who did it. But I can point out all the inconsistencies and the clear slop that's being provided, and the insisting from everybody from on the right wing, insisting that you have to believe this is very strange, especially them pushing the idea of low IQ anti-Semitism, saying that you're a conspiracy theorist and it's mass psychosis and you're kooky. This makes people doubt even more, and we should learn from our lessons. JD Vance just went on the Joe Rogan podcast and said that they fumbled the Epstein case big time. So if the government is known for covering up major investigations like this, then why should we automatically believe this? Especially when Netanyahu the next day after Charlie Kirk was assassinated makes a Twitter video and says, I didn't kill Charlie Kirk. It wasn't me. Was there any other foreign leader that made a video talking about how much they didn't kill Charlie Kirk? No. So I can question this.
I didn't make a video talking about how I didn't kill Charlie Kirk. Did you? I think Netanyahu was the only guy that made a video trying to explain I didn't kill Charlie Kirk.
No other foreign leader. And yeah, they're trying to reframe it and insisting that he was a staunch Zionist. They're putting the Israeli flag tied with the American flag behind him. Even though towards the end of his career, we need to remember these three important things. One, there's text messages showing where he said, the Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes, which are leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. He said Epstein was an Israeli asset. He said the Iran war was going to be a disaster. He said Israel was going to try to ethnically cleanse Gaza. He also said that Israel knew about October 7th, and they allowed it to happen to justify the genocide. Looking at this is clearly different than the narrative you see from the right wing and from the Zionists right now. So let's remember that perhaps they're trying to reframe his narrative and try to martyr him so that he could be a symbol of Judeo-Christian values, when in fact he was clearly coming over to a different side.
Yeah, it's so similar to the Martin Luther King assassination. Like, I was never really a fan of Martin Luther King. I like Malcolm X a lot. I was actually planning on making a video kind of mocking him and, praising Malcolm. But then I saw at the end of his life, they veered towards the same part. That's when they killed him. He had turned on his Jewish donors. So there's big he had huge fights with his Jewish owners because he refused to endorse the war he was against the war in Vietnam. And then he was also against the slumlords, which a lot of them happened to be Jewish. So he lost all of his donors. They were all upset with him. They were fighting. And then he was doing a march on Washington. And it was about like the middle class rising up without the race. He stopped talking. He says, oh, it's not just about race. There's other things. Just like Malcolm X also realized, oh, there's other things besides race. It's about uniting as a people. And that's when he got killed. And his thing is so crazy. There was a patsy set up. This guy, James Earl something. There was multiple police pulled away. So there was 4 police drove to the hotel. They were called and told to leave. There was SWAT teams outside because he had threats on his life. They were called and told to go like a half mile away. The craziest one, there was a detective that was watching across the street who had a post, who was watching the camera, who was like he actually cared about him, Martin Luther King supporter. He was called, demanded to leave because he had death threats, which was fake. And then there was a private security, which was these black nationalists. A guy picked a fight with them, it turned out was CIA, and kicked them out. So 4 security details were pushed away, like literally right before he was shot. And this guy, what they do with these patsies, they set up someone who's like a criminal. He was a petty criminal. He really did buy the gun, and they had him a hotel. They booked him a hotel across the street. They took the gun, they neatly wrapped it in front of the thing after they shot him. Just like Charlie Kirk, they came in, they cut down the trees right away, which where multiple people said he was shot from a different area than the guy that got convicted. They cut the trees down, cut the brush. Everything's like identical. And the guy that talked him into pleading guilty was literally Jack Ruby's fucking attorney. So you can't make this shit up. It's like, And he was a racist, so they wanted to use it to push more racial divide.
He was a racist, but towards the end of his career, he realized that he was wrong, and that's when obviously they found that to be a threat. And what can't be forgotten about Malcolm X is, yes, the Nation of Islam did firebomb his house. They did turn on him, especially because the Nation of Islam is a cult led by a false prophet, Elijah Muhammad. And when he rejected that and left and became a Sunni Muslim, they got really upset, right? And Elijah Muhammad felt threatened by Malcolm X's presence and his ability to speak. But what can't be forgotten as well is that the FBI did have him under mass surveillance for years. Yeah. They had his phone tapped, they had all these records, and they didn't have anything on him. Martin Luther King, he was doing all these orgies, he was cheating on his wife, he was a complete degenerate. Malcolm X, they found nothing except for his phone logs where he was reading and calling his wife. Malcolm X too, and this is actually pretty similar to what's happening right now, because you made the joke about deport SNEAKO. For the people that do believe that I should be deported to wherever, I'm not even sure where I'd go. Elon Musk is a trillionaire African migrant, literally into America, and he has weird inconsistencies with his visa. He was in Canada first. Regardless, say I should be deported because I want more people to become Muslim. Well, Malcolm X also saw the ability to unify with people that were very different than him. When he was still a black nationalist, there was a speech where the American Nazi Party showed up. And they agreed with a lot of what he said because Malcolm X was also calling out Jewish power. And so he said, okay, the American Nazi Party, they don't want Jewish power in America. They were able to put their differences aside and realize that there's a greater issue that perhaps they can unite on. I've been trying to do this for years. You've seen this, Jake. I've platformed these people. I've created their careers. I looked away and I was very, connected and involved and streaming with the white nationalist movement because I saw there was a common goal to get rid of Israel's control of our country. We agree on that. Muslims are on the same page. But recently we see that the white nationalist movement has been swooped up by Peter Thiel. They're prioritizing looks maxing. A lot of them seem to have taken the deal that Charlie Kirk rejected. They are worshiping Klav as the handsome. It's got really weird. And so this movement now does not pose a threat. In fact, the greatest threat towards Israel's control in America right now is the DSA. It's the Democratic Socialists of America. They're the ones electing the anti-AIPAC.
The screen went out.
What happened?
Can you still see me? I can't see you on the screen, but
I can see you.
Okay, well, I guess people still see me. Anyway, sorry.
You can't see me anymore?
No, but no, I can't see you as long as the screen's on. But no, the white nationalists, similar experience. Like some of the guys are cool, but I feel like they're attacking me. I get attacked by them because I platformed them. They attack me more than random people. It's like, so what's the fucking point of platforming these guys? One little mishap, they're constantly attacking you. They do the same with me. Again, I like some of the leaders, some of these organizations, like the Patriot Front. I actually like that organization. They're not all hateful. They are white only, which is true, but they're not pushing hate. They're actually out building stuff, doing stuff for the community. And those guys are cool. But a lot of these guys are just like LARPing, losers, thinking they're not realistic. Oh, deport SNEAKO. To where? You're an American citizen. You're born here. That just gets ridiculous. Now, I don't want to bring in a bunch more immigrants. Like people they twist what you say too. Like I say, I'm like, I have no problem with Muslims. Like, oh, Jake's trying to bring in millions of third world Muslims. Like, dude, where did you get that fucking argument from? They just make up shit. And you ran into them. It's like these people are they're just.
Well, I'm also against mass immigration, right? There are so many citizens here, and people are not able to afford rent the same way they used to. We have so many problems in this country. We need to prioritize the citizens here. I'm anti-mass immigration. People need to understand that the mass immigration, it started from all these wars. If they're going to compare it to the mass immigration of Muslims in Europe, it's because of Iran war, Afghanistan war in Syria. In America, the majority of immigration is not even Muslim. It comes from the southern Mexican border and H-1B visas from China and India. But they don't know this. They're getting fed race war slop from Tommy Robinson and Elon Musk, and they immediately believe what they see. Also in the right wing, there's no real movement because the last time American right-wingers got outside to protest, it was January 6th. What happened since then? They stormed the Capitol. People were with a megaphone saying storm the Capitol. Either they went to jail or they became a Zionist afterwards. So it looks like from the outside in, they either took a deal to rat on everybody or they were sent to prison. The only other right-wing protest that I've seen since January 6th was the Free Andrew Tate protest where these guys in their 50s are doing push-ups outside of his prison cell while he's accused and he has charges for child abuse images. So there's no real, and every time somebody tries to band together in the right wing to do something, what happens? All the ankle biters come out and say that they're stupid, say that it's low IQ anti-Semitism, say that it's a waste of time, say just go inside, put in your Catboy ears, and give me money in the TTS. This needs to be called out. In fact, it's more dangerous than Laura Loomer or Randy Fine. When you have subversive feds that are within the movement, pretending to be on our side, but really ankle biting everybody that criticizes Israel, this causes more damage than a staunch upfront Zionist.
No, I couldn't agree more. And as far as the right, they never do mobilize. And when they did, it scared them. So they made an example of January 6th. That's the largest FBI investigation in American history. What they did to people was terrible. Taking people with families and giving them like 10 years. One guy got given like 37 years, I believe, and he wasn't even in fucking DC. It was just completely deranged and insane. Like what they did, they made an example of it. And people like when Patriot Front, whenever they march, they're like feds, fed. So there's constant attacking of anyone on the right that mobilizes. Also, something I find interesting, like why does Antifa never get embedded with feds? But any right-wing organization has multiple feds embedded. It just shows you, it makes me almost wonder like the feds are manipulating using Antifa. That's how it feels.
I agree. I mean, look at the narrative with Charlie Kirk. They keep trying to blame the left. They're trying to insist that the left wants to kill you. The left is evil. But I think people are starting to wake up, and I want to see what you think. But the left-right paradigm is clearly they're desperately trying to reinforce this system because it keeps us with the illusion of choice, right? Because both sides are owned. The Democrat and the Republican Party are both owned by the same people. If we believe that the left and the right, if we're always fighting each other on culture war issues, then nothing gets changed. Where Candace Owens in this debate, it shows a new path that it's not really about right and left. Look at the new coalition that Tucker Carlson found with Massey, with Marjorie Taylor Greene. They're not saying we need to be loyalists to the Republican Party, to the GOP. Let's put America first. And if we're going to be dividing over transgender bathrooms, no progress will be made.
Yeah, I strongly agree. I think the left-right paradigm is just to keep us fighting at each other's throat. And people, every issue should be looked at individually. So we need to get rid of the parties. We need to be like, who cares about America? Who wants to make America a better country? There's going to be some small disagreements, but most of the shit is small shit. Like the transgender is a perfect example. Yes, it is a real issue. It's a problem, but that's mostly like a culture issue. And they want to take that as like the biggest wedge issue. They take these things that aren't really decided on the ballot instead of fucking the BLM versus, it was in 2008, what was the Occupy Wall Street? They were pushing that, talking about the class. That's when all of a sudden they go, oh, we need to take BLM and push that instead. It's like they don't want us talking about what matters, and like we should be looking at what makes it, a better country. Like things like fucking like free healthcare. I'm considered on the right, but every American, we're the richest country in the world, we don't have fucking healthcare. It's insane.
Well, you sound like a commie. You're a communist for
exactly.
saying that.
I'll be called a communist for saying that. The fact that people can't fucking get healthcare. We're the only industrialized country in the world with not free healthcare. We could still have private healthcare, so we could do both. There could be private doctors, private hospitals, but there should be a basic government care.
Well, that makes you a communist. According to right-wingers, you're a commie. But you know who has universal health care? Our greatest ally, Israel. They are able to afford this for their citizens. Where are they getting this money? Us. We fund their entire country. Trump just admitted it. So we can afford to pay for the Jews in Israel to have health care, but we can't. And this makes you a communist if you question it. The wealth gap is getting wider than it's ever been. Trillionaire African migrants, Elon Musk, have all the power in the White House. You're seeing Peter Thiel they're buying politicians. These are also foreigners. He's from Germany. So if you question, wait, why do we have to be loyal to these trillionaire billionaires on islands with Jared Kushner buying up land in Albania? You don't need to die for capitalism because it's not benefiting you, right? This is clearly only pocketing money for the richest people in the world that are in the Epstein files. Why do you think that this is pro-American values? Pro-American would be prioritizing the citizens. People can't afford rent the same way. Why did Zohar Mamdani win in New York City? Because the average New Yorker couldn't afford rent the way that they were able to in the 1980s. It doesn't make you a commie for pointing this out. The average Gen Zer, they have $94,000 in debt when they graduate college.
Jesus.
How are you going to pay this off?
Yeah, I think it's crazy. Prices are getting crazy because like we do pretty well. And I look at prices of things and I'm like, how are people surviving? It's like, it's brutal. And they want to like you said, they've tricked us to be like, oh, we're sticking up for Jared Kushner and Peter Thiel instead of the regular American. Now, 100% you should be able to be a millionaire and make money, but we have to have a little reality check of like, we're basically communists for like all these big businesses, they get bailed out. Like during COVID, they got all this extra money, during the financial crisis of 2008, when people like our parents and shit, they might have lost their homes, but no, the banks who caused this crisis, they get bailed out. So we already are a fucking communist country, but it's for the billionaires, not for us. Instead, we're getting fucking squeezed dry and people are just fucking retards repeating their lies. Like what was like Luigi, he shot that healthcare guy.
Mangione, yeah.
I'm not gonna say it's a good thing, but this dude, they declined, I guess, more fucking healthcare claims than any other company. It's like, Am I going to cry over this guy? No, of course not. Like, this guy's literally, his job is to destroy people's life. Imagine if you're paying for a fucking insurance, a ridiculous price, and then when you actually need it, they just fucking turn you down anyways. Like, what kind of country are we in, you know? I remember a few years ago when my fucking kids had cancer, so I had to GoFundMe for her fucking kids who didn't die of cancer. It's just, but yet all of our money's going to Israel. It'd be different if we were like a poor country that didn't have the money, but we do. We just need to figure out what our priorities are and help the Americans. But like you said, to do this, you can't have open borders. People like Bernie Sanders understood that. So we need, but the right also fucking wants to flood in. They want cheap labor. They don't want to have to pay us more if they fucking didn't flood in immigrants.
These billionaires benefit off of cheap labor. They don't actually want to stop immigration. They want a race war. They want civilians to be fighting each other. But Elon benefits from more H-1B visas. His entire team is comprised of Indians from H-1B. If you have a massive corporation, you're going to hire illegal Mexicans to go do all the labor because they work harder than white people. They're not incentivized to stop mass immigration. They pretend to get a populist movement. What we need to be really cognizant of is the cult mentality. You can see it with Trump and you can see it with Pablo Fuentberg. Trump, for example, he just did a speech and he's saying that you should be okay with the high gas prices. If you have to pay a little more for your gas, it's to destroy the evil Islamic Republic in Iran. And they also are clapping like seals. So they are now so deep in a cult, they are clapping for a worse economy. They're applauding a war to die for the Jews and pay more on gas. This is how in deep they are because they believe.
I thought that was AI when I saw that. I thought that had to be AI. I'm like, that can't be fucking real, but it was. And like, he's literally, and they applauded, like you said, saying it's okay to pay more for gas because for our greatest ally to fight Iran, which a war we're fucking losing. It's just so embarrassing. Like, I don't know how anyone could still support Trump. I think they're just in too deep. They supported him for so many years. They're just too embarrassed.
It's a literal cult where they worship, and look at the idol worship they portray. They say that God anointed Jesus with the light to bless Trump to bomb Iran. You have Paula White, the spiritual leader, praying on. You see all the hands that they put on top of Trump and pray on him like he is a literal idol. They don't realize, but they're in too deep, and you could see it too with the Cat Boys. They don't have any consistent message. They switched up completely on the Israel issue. Even publicly, Pablo Fuentberg is saying that he's going to counter-signal people like us so that he can get mainstream approval.
Can't believe that.
This was leaked in a Telegram group. He's so happy. Tim Pool likes me now. So he's publicly saying he is going to step on us and try to discredit us and paint us as crazy just so he can get the approval from mainstream institutions. And people in the Catboy movement know this, but they're so in deep in a cult because they're supposed to rape, kill, and die for this guy that they can't admit that they were wrong.
No, it's so crazy. Me and you helped him the most. You the most, but then me, I literally had a falling out with Tim Pool because I was trying to get Nick on his show. We got in a fight with him over that.
I didn't know that.
I'm in the Hodge twins, multiple shows. That fucking the screaming out to get on. Like, and you platform. I think I might have met him through you. You or I think about somewhere else, but you were like platforming him, getting on all the big podcasts.
The first stream we did in Sean Strickland's gym, you asked me about Pablo, and I verified that he was a good guy. To Owen Benjamin, to all these people, I really went to bat. So and this is because I care about it. I mean, my political position right now, and I think you agree, I'm not right, I'm not left. You see the news will call me a fascist neo-Nazi. They'll also call me an Islamic jihadist communist. I get called everything. And they can't.
What a bizarre world.
It's where it's a valuable position is that other Muslims like Mehdi Hassan and Hassan Piker, they are audience captured by the left. But I'm not, right? I will ally with anybody that gets rid of Israel's control of our country. Yeah. If they are threatening AIPAC, I will ally with you. That was my logic with the white nationalist movement. They are threatening Israel. They're calling out the right issues. This is doing some damage. This is good. I was on Ye 24 4 years ago. Right now, they sold out, so they're done. The DSA right now, Hassan Piker, for all of his faults, right, he gets a lot of the culture war issues extremely wrong. But the DSA, look what they did. They elected Abdullah Syed. And it's really a lot of it you could credit directly to Hassan Piker. For he was on the ground, he was in Michigan, he was canvassing, and that's why the news is so angry at him right now. Fox News is getting really upset because they are seeing the power that these streamers wield. And so AIPAC is getting really upset. Jonathan Greenblatt is he doesn't know what to do. They are slandering him constantly, but it's not working the same way. They don't have the same grip on mainstream media and on the minds of the people as they used to.
Yeah, no, and media is very important. That's why they spend billions of dollars. That's why they want to control it all. That's why they come in. That's why they ban people when they get too controversial. That's why they offer money behind closed doors. They're completely trying to control the information. It's important to them. If they lose that, and it's crazy too how many independent people get corrupt. I'm for sure you've experienced too, or people all of a sudden start changing their opinions, or you get offered money, you're like, oh shit, they really care about the information war. Which honestly, that's kind of why I started a podcast. I was a little disappointed with the podcast out there. I could cry about it, or I could go and fucking start my own. You know, I could bitch about, oh, someone's not talking about the issues I want. Like, oh, I'll go out and start and do my own thing.
Yeah, and it's disappointing to see Joe Rogan because you're bringing on guests that are
exactly what I was thinking of,
providing the conversation. But Joe Rogan, he's talking about Muslims all day long, and now he's a Christian after being an atheist, DMT taker for a long time. But he doesn't bring any Muslims on. But he has a lot to say, and also he brings on these shills like God Saad quite frequently. He is repeating some of the AI Antichrist rhetoric that we see from Peter Thiel. I know you know Joe Rogan. I hope he hasn't sold out.
Long time.
I hope I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but a lot of what he's saying just sounds like he got the script. He's platforming.
I've been friends with him for like 25 years, and I think he's a good person. He's done so much good. He's helped so many comedians for fighting. He's so talented. He's changed podcasts, so it's hard for me to say anything bad about him. But I'm just disappointed. Not gonna lie. What's the girl that the one that runs the fucking news? Barry Weiss was on his show, and someone was telling me she was helping him get guests. I don't think it was like intentional. I think they're manipulative, getting in there like, oh, I'll get you guests, like the Weinstein brothers, all these Jewish people they're pushing on there. Yeah. Just like, and then Andrew Wilson was on his show like twice in the last like 6 months, I think. Like, that's a little weird.
He did say that Candace Owens won the debate. And where that's I think true. You get this right is you don't have to be a Muslim to understand that the number one propaganda tool from the Israelis is demonizing Muslims. They made it public. When Netanyahu said he was going to fund influencers $7,000 proposed to promote their propaganda, it was exposed that their number one objective is to call out jihadists and Sharia law and Islamists and demonize Muslims, right? Because they realize they can't stop the growing anti-Semitism or anti-Israel criticism. They can't stop it. It's too big. But what they can do is jingle keys in front of everybody's faces and be like, whoa, look at the Muslims. And then you see movies like Citizen Vigilante promoted by Elon Musk and Pablo Fuentberg. Then you see Ben Shapiro, Daily Wire. They're putting out this movie called Run, Hide, Fight Infidels, where the trailer, the first shot is a guy praying to a pile of bullets. And it seems like the plot of the movie is that these evil Muslims are trying to go and grape white girls, it's just Tommy Robinson slop. This is their number one tool. You don't need to be a Muslim to realize that they have justified so many wars by demonizing Muslims. We need to learn from our mistakes. Iraq War, right? You were in your 20s or 30s when this happened, right? I grew up during this era. We learned that there were no weapons of mass destruction. We know that Netanyahu went to Congress in 2003 begging Americans to go fight this war. They deployed not one troop in support of their greatest ally. The war was a disaster. Nothing happened. Afghanistan, same thing. 20 years, the longest war in American history. Nothing was accomplished, like $6 trillion on this war. How many times do we need to go to the war with Middle Eastern countries with the same propaganda that evil Muslims are trying to take over when there's only 1.3% of the population in America that are Muslim, only 8% of the immigration is Muslim? How many times are we going to fall for the same slop?
I can't believe it still works. And it's so heavy, and these dumbasses eat it up. It's the Muslims. And then it's like, dude, come on, the Muslims aren't causing problems in America. And yeah, maybe there was a little bit in Europe, it's a little bit different there, but lots of it's more of a culture issue than a religious issue. They're bringing in too many fucking people from countries because there's a lot of fucking Muslims. It's not like a race, there's different countries. So it's like a Pakistani is not gonna be the same as a Lebanese. It's like, there's different cultures. People don't understand that. They just think like Muslims all the same. You're an American.
Right.
It's like
but the difference is Muslims will get blamed. The entire religion will get blamed for the actions of people that are incorrect. World War I and World War II was committed by European Christian countries. Do people blame Christianity? No. When you have cartel members coming in from the southern Mexican border bringing fentanyl, do they blame Catholic gangs? No. But somebody does something wrong and they'll be like, oh, it's all Muslims, even though there's 2 billion. So
that's true. That's a good point. They really do. And there's Shiite and Sunni Muslims, which are completely different. It's like, are you Sunni or are you?
I'm Muslim. So Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said he was Muslim. So I don't like to.
I actually like that. I like your way of looking at it.
That's better. And I'm not of the belief. A lot of people criticize. I think Shia are still Muslim too, but I just call myself Muslim.
Yeah, there's that divide, but like the Shia have really stepped up and had balls. Like they're even basically, I think they said no peace deal unless Israel stops fucking killing people, stops killing Palestinians as well, who are Sunni Muslims, And you have Saudi Arabia is not saying that. Fucking none of these Sunni countries are sticking up for them. I mean, they might help a little bit here and there, but not really. They're all aligning with America, and Iran's basically, they've been based. It's been kind of embarrassing for America. We've more or less lost that war. Trump, like every couple of days, will be like, oh, we won the war. They're begging for a deal. And then it's just, oh, the straits don't open.
I don't know if you've seen this, but the UAE, it looks like they are paying propagandists to slander me now and call me member of the Muslim Brotherhood. So you have UAE shills, and it's pretty much like a lot of people claim that it's just an arm for Israel. They're committing a genocide in Sudan, right? They are lighting the Burj Khalifa up with the Indian flag and signing the Abraham Accords. So they're now saying that I'm Islamic terror. The people in the UAE, and they're dressed like the idea of a Muslim. So it's supposed to signal to people in the West, to people in England and America, look, we're the good Muslims. Look at how we're dressed. Those are the evil ones. But it just falls flat. And this is the criticism I get from some people in the GCC. They say, why are you supporting Iran? Well, it's not that I'm supporting Iran. It's that they are the only ones standing up for the people in Palestine. Yeah. The only nation that's standing up for the people in Lebanon right now. The only ones fighting against Israel. And they proved a lot of people wrong. Ayatollah Khomeini, from the grave, is winning the war with this plan. He died in epic fury the first day, February 28th, and he's still winning from the grave. And so, look, I mean, I think the Muslim world should stand up a lot more. And a lot of people like you, I see you point out correctly that a lot of the Sunni countries, the Sunni-dominated countries, are doing a lot less than what it seems like they should be doing.
No, I just felt like I spoke up so much that cost me a lot. And when I realized a lot of Muslims weren't speaking up, it kind of pissed me off. It's just like, particularly the leaders, you know, I went a little too hard when I first realized it, like at all of the Sunnis, and realized, okay, it's the leaders and specifically more of the, the Wahhabism. But still, there's a lot of power in that. And a lot of Muslims, they don't want to, it's not just, if you live in that country, I understand you can be killed. But a lot of these guys, they just want the money they can make off of Saudi Arabia and UAE because there's insane amounts of money over there. And I've made a lot of money over there. So I fucking burned all my bridges calling it out, you know? I've been over there with the sheiks they're into jiu-jitsu, paying insane amounts of money. I had connections in Saudi Arabia, but I'm willing to fucking burn it all down for truth. And when I see Muslims scared to do that, that pissed me off. You know, I had a good talk with, Daniel, what the fuck's his last name? Yeah, he explained it really good because I think when I was kind of pissed off, I talked to him for a minute and he kind of helped break it down because he does call it out too. Yeah. I realized a lot of these Muslims weren't calling out these fucking, the Saudis, the UAE. It's like, is it for money? And some of them you realize they hate fucking Iran more than they hate Israel.
Well, this is part of the end times prophecy. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he did specify that one of the minor signs of the end times is that the Muslims, the Ummah, will be large in numbers. Right now, we're the fastest growing religion, 2 billion Muslims. But although we're large in numbers, people will love life more than death. And so people will prioritize money in this life and will look away at what we're supposed to be doing and sell people out. And where we're all right now, where people are so obsessed with money and wealth and connections and political power that they'll look away at what we should be doing.
Yeah, I wonder how our society turned where like money is the only thing we value. It's kind of sick. It's like that's look at the preem thing. Success is purely just off how much money you have. I don't know how we've turned. There's so much more in life, like honor. Like, what's your honor? What's, the friendships, what you do for people, family. Like, that seems to be more important. Yeah, sure, I like money. Don't get me wrong. I like making money. It sucks if you have no money, but that's not like, if that's the only thing that's driving people, you might as well be this religion that we're not supposed to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that being the be-all, end-all for people has changed everything. But I think we're going to see a shift soon. I think people are sick of it. I think people are tired of the endless materialism. Like, one of the major holes in the white nationalist movement is, although Klav, I can like the guy personally, but he went on an Israeli propaganda tour, right? And he's there doing a pre-recorded stream, and his justification was he's ascending. And he was asked by Piers Morgan, why didn't you go to Gaza? He said, well, because Gaza's losing the war. So everything he does is for shekels and is for money. He's doing a gambling deal. He's with all these prostitutes on the stream. And then people like Pablo are like, this guy's the prophet. He's so cute. He's mogging. Like the white nationalist movement spends more time calling me out and saying I need to be deported rather than look at Klav, who is this not directly contributing towards the decline of the white birth rate? If you care so much about whiteness and white replacement, well, this is a guy who's infertile. He's 20 years old, and he said Retatrutide literally made him apathetic and depressed. He said it's mind graping him. This is what is contributing towards the decline of the white race, not me. What am I doing that's threatening your existence?
No, it's weird they attack you so much because I don't think you're really anti-white. I've known you for a while. You're a friend. You think white people should be having more kids. I've never heard you say maybe like a little rage baiting, say things joking around. You push Islam, but I've never heard you be anti-white. But they act like some of these guys, oh, why are you friends with SNEAKO? He does this. It's like, bro, first off, I don't give a fuck. I'm not looking at everything you say. If you say something I don't like, you're my fucking friend. I don't give a fuck, There's obviously levels that could go, but there's like, you're my fucking friend. I'm not going to fucking dig through everything you say. You've treated me good. You treat me with respect. And I've never seen you really disrespect white people, at least not seriously. I don't know why.
You know what it's identical to? The people crying about, oh, he's anti-white. It sounds exactly like the woke movement crying about homophobia and transphobia every chance they get. They hate it's like now you're doing the identity politics that the woke left did for so many years. In fact, I have a solution towards the decline of the birth rate. Bosnia, for example, is a far whiter country than England or America, and they're all Muslim. And I go to this country all the time. Yeah. I have a lot of friends there. I stream there. These are good people, and they have values that are continuing their own nation, right? They have a strong cultural identity. They're predominantly Muslim, but they're still Bosnian, and it's still a European country, and people see this. These are also people at the World Cup that are standing up for Palestine more than any other nation, right? And I promote this country nonstop. If people are going to say I'm anti-white, then why am I in a white-dominated country more than you?
That's interesting. No, I think as a whole, there's shitty Muslims, but as a whole, I think a lot of Muslims have good values. They take them more serious. They have honor. That's been my dealings. I ran into shitty Muslims, of course, but I've had a lot of fucking Muslim friends that have been very honorable about the word, principles, taking the religion more serious than Christians too, as a whole. The no drinking, the praying, like it makes you take it more serious. And it's kind of sad seeing not many people take Christianity seriously anymore, but it's almost like a dying religion. A lot of these guys, they say they're a Christian, but they're not really. A lot of the people that are Muslims I know actually are Muslim.
And this is why I wanted to debate Pablo Fuentberg when he started selling a shirt with my name on it saying, deport me. I've said, let's debate, because in Catholicism, there's a document called Nostra Aetate, where Catholic leadership in the 60s confirmed that they believe Muslims worship the Father, that they believe that Muslims pray, they give charity, they fast. They admit Muslims worship the Father. This is Catholic doctrine. So if you disagree with this, you're an apostate. Catholics are supposed to follow the Catholic leadership. And if you don't, you are an apostate. This is why Protestants existed. Protestant means protest. They were protesting the Catholic leadership because they wanted to be more independent. They wanted to be free of this monarchy. They don't know this. And the vast majority of Christians who LARP and use Christ as King everywhere, they do it to create a populist movement, but they clearly don't believe in it at all. Trump does this too. He doesn't swear in when he becomes president for the second time. He doesn't put his hand on the Bible. He also says on Air Force One that he doesn't think he's going to make it to heaven. On Truth Social, he's putting AI images of him dressed up as Jesus. This is clear heresy. This is,
that makes sense why you can't make pictures of Muhammad. You see that, then you can see why it just disgraces and makes a joke of the religion. So that kind of hit me one day, like, oh, that's why they don't. He didn't want to be worshipped as a God. He thought that would be shameful to put him as God because he wasn't God. He was a prophet. So that actually made sense when he said that. It wasn't like an arrogance. He doesn't want pictures because he doesn't want to be worshipped.
Exactly. And now in mega churches, unfortunately, they're putting Charlie Kirk next to Jesus in a mega church. And this is the issue with images, because people have the propensity to worship anything. In India, the Hindus worship Trump as an idol. In America, the people worship Trump as an idol. This is what happens. And this is why idol worship is the biggest sin. We got to make sure that we just worship God.
No, that really made sense. Shouldn't be images of people made as like it's like a god to worship, because that would happen. They'd make pictures of Muhammad, and then people would naturally start worshiping it like a god. So that made, and people like Trump would have himself, or an Islamic version like a Saudi or a UAE guy would have himself like Muhammad. That's what it would be. All those UAE guys that are fucking supporting Israel secretly. So
yeah. But I want to see that. I'm glad that this stuff's being called out in the GCC. I think they're exposing it. And again, it's not like undying support. I think the Shias get a lot of things incorrect. But of course, they're fighting back right now, and they're really proving how powerful we could be if we work together. And they're seeing some alliances. The Saudis are now working with the Pakistanis and the Turks. So hopefully we can get some unity. Is the most important thing. That's the biggest threat they find. As soon as people unify and as soon as people bridge the gaps, that's when they really step up the propaganda, because this is how they endlessly profit off of a divided system, right? Even in Spain, I'm sure you saw the real cause of the Spain-Morocco debacle. This whole situation was clearly coordinated by the Israelis. Ben Gvir is bragging about it, saying he wants more Mohammeds in Europe. This is the Minister of National Security in Israel. You also have Yair Netanyahu, Netanyahu's son, threatening Spain if they continue to support Palestine and recognize them as a state. They just staged this in order to show this is what we're going to do if you don't align with us. Here's another issue that we're now seeing in America with the culture war slop. This is what they want the right wing to do. They don't want you to get mad at the cause of these problems. They want you to get mad at the result of their actions. They want you to be mad at transgenders. Owen Benjamin pointed it out perfectly. He said that they vastly overestimated how much the right wing hates transgenders. They want you to be mad at transgenders and hate them, but it's like, who's giving them this ideology? I don't hate transgenders. They've been misguided. I want them to be guided towards the right way. They've been brainwashed. Larry Fink went on Fox News And he's saying that this experiment that they created with all these isms after Occupy Wall Street. Occupy Wall Street, they saw people band together, regardless of right and left, and say, wait, why were the banks bailed out after this Great Recession? The citizens are getting screwed over, but the banks get bailed out, and people protest, and they got scared. They saw unity. What they did was they started feeding people all these identity politics. Oh, now you're a black trans liberationist. Now you're transgender. Now you're a cis queer, whatever. These isms were promoted and funded by BlackRock to make people divided into factions so we don't actually address the major issue. People don't seem to realize this. This is meant to keep you divided. This is meant to keep you fighting each other rather than fighting the people who are giving you these problems.
Yeah, BlackRock doesn't care about us. They're not pushing it for a good reason. And like I said earlier, you know, both Malcolm X and Martin Luther King were shot when they were pushing away from only a racial issue. Before they were both clearly racial, both of them were pushing away from that and they got shot. That's when all of a sudden the system's like, they want the division. As soon as there's no division, and you know, they fake, like Martin Luther King, fake it with a fake racist guy to kill him. So they want to push this racial divide. When both of them start to be like, hey, unity, I can work with the, you know, Malcolm X finally goes, I can work with the white man. Martin Luther King goes, let's do a march about equality. White people are being screwed over too. Oh, nope, shoot them. That's when they got to silence them. Same thing in the Middle East, the Sunni versus Shia, they have them fighting constantly, division, civil wars. If they could unite, they could fucking close them down. These guys are so idiotic. Like, look at the Greater Israel Project. They're taking all the land. They want complete control, but these guys are too consumed with their petty fights. So they're fighting each other instead of focusing on the real goal. And, you know, obviously America's part of it by giving these countries aid, military support, heavily pushing it. But if all these countries united together, there's nothing we could do. Iran showed that by kind of annihilating all our military bases. Like, why do these countries allow us to launch military attacks on Iran and stuff from their countries? It's sick. Even remember Qatar, Israel bombed them, and that's where our largest military base is. And they didn't even do anything. They didn't kick the military out.
Yeah, and we didn't, if that was a Muslim country bombing our ally, we would have went to war. It's Israel, so we just looked the other way. Like USS Liberty wearing the shirt. What does Ben Shapiro say when he's asked about the USS Liberty? Oh, it was a long time ago. It was 50 years ago. Wait, when it comes to the Holocaust, it's never forget. You talk about it every day. USS Liberty, we're supposed to move on immediately.
Yeah, I think Liberty is a good litmus test. If anyone makes excuses for that, they're a fucking traitor. If you're making excuses for Israel, a foreign military attacking and killing Americans, you are not my friend. You're an enemy. I think this Charlie Kirk thing is a good litmus test too. Now, again, I think it's fine if people think that Tyler Robinson's most likely guilty, but if they're just completely wanting to shut down the conversation, you're a bad actor. You should be open to looking at it. There's certain things that are litmus tests. Like if you push this ideology, you're probably not on the right side.
Jake, you're frozen right now. Something happened to your camera.
Run. The screen froze up again. I don't know why I've been having fucking screen trouble. Can you hear me still, or?
I can hear you, yeah, but just the camera's out.
But it's like frozen up and I can't see him.
There you go.
It's not on. Is it going?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay, now I'm back. Yeah, I've been having fucking screen trouble. I'm at the home studio instead of the main fucking one, but
it's a good background.
Well, you're home, right? Too. I got like a home one and then the regular studio.
Yeah, I do it at home, and I really don't like, since the last time I think we streamed together, they really tried to ramp up this idea of low IQ anti-Semitism, which is clear Fed slop, especially when low IQ racism. Right? I don't even like to use that word because it sounds like victim mentality, but like they will claim, the same people saying low IQ anti-Semitism will say that the whites are being genocided, which is not true. Like there's not an active genocide. They're like, they're killing white. No, it's just the birth rate's declining because the women are on OnlyFans.
They're flooding in people of different races, but they're not killing. But they are, I think these people are deliberately trying to flood in people of different races to fucking.
Yeah, this is part of this. Rabbis are public about this.
We need to close our borders. You can't just blame other people.
This is part of their eschatology. They want the Christians and Muslims, they want the Romans and Muslims to be fighting each other in Europe. Rabbis in Israel are public in saying they want the Muslims to flood Europe so that they will fight the Romans, right? And this is being orchestrated by Israel once again, because in order for them to summon their Messiah, this war needs to happen, right? This is something that's one of the chess pieces that need to be played in order for the end times prophecy for the greater Israel to happen.
Yeah, and then, there's two groups that is openly okay to hate: Muslims and white men. That's you can see who they hate. You can just openly just hate and say terrible things about Muslims and white people. And I'm sure, well, obviously being a Muslim, you experience that. But I remember growing up as a kid, just constantly being pushed this hatred towards my own people when I was at mostly white school. It's just so bizarre. But it's even probably more extreme with the Muslims, like the TV, like killing the Muslims, the terrorists. They want us, they put so much propaganda into making people hate Muslims. And I'm kind of shocked at how well it's worked again. I thought it wouldn't work after the Iraq war, but you see these guys eating it up again. It's the Muslims.
Even though there's so many white Muslim countries like Albania, like Bosnia, but Trump does it with black people too, right? This lie that Haitians were eating cats and dogs was pushed heavily. And now he's trying to demonize Somalis, which are predominantly Muslim. But whenever his approval rating is really low, Trump just says something blatantly racist in order to get approval again. Right now, he's insulting other politicians, saying he's basically a Palestinian, as if that's a slur, because this is what galvanizes his cult base.
Yeah, I don't think being a Palestinian is a slur. To me, they're some of the only people fighting, defending their land. That's what I can't believe. All these fucking, like, when they get these conservatives that are all pro First Amendment or Second Amendment being like, oh, these terrorists, but the same people are being like, oh, I would defend my land if anyone comes in. It's like, which is it? Would you defend your land or are those guys terrorists? It can't really be both. It doesn't make sense. It's like double think. Let's go real quick to deport SNEAKO. Was that like organic? It seemed like it was such a heavy movement for a couple of weeks. I'm like, where is this coming from? Like, isn't Elon Musk? There was like, everyone was pushing that, you know?
Yeah, everybody who fell for that is an idiot, and I think they need to be called an idiot because Elon Musk started this, right? He's the CEO of X, and he's clearly tied up with Mossad. He's photographed Netanyahu many times, giving him tours around his Tesla facilities. He's there doing the humiliation ritual with Ben Shapiro at Auschwitz. Who do you think Elon Musk is aligned with? Also, if they're going to believe that he's really standing up for the white populist movement, he's a trillionaire African migrant who's bringing in H-1B visas in the thousands from India. He doesn't care about you. Why would he care about you? Since 2008, Elon Musk has been saying that he's going to bring people to Mars, and all he's done since then is show up in the Epstein files and promote AI hentai porn. What has he done to help out Americans? Right? This is the biggest wealth gap we've ever seen. There's been no Mars. He posts a picture of a rocket ship once in a while, and people think he's a genius. This is stupid. And I saw all these white nationalists immediately get on board and say that. Andrew Wilson's wife said it. Even that guy, Elijah, whatever, another.
Yeah, I saw him. I thought you guys
said
were
it.
like
These other, friends. They all like Pablo Fuentberg sold a shirt saying this. It's like, and this is so obviously Fed slop. Elon Musk is saying this not because he cares about America. He's saying this because he wants people to be angry at me instead of him. He wants you to forget about the Epstein files that he was begging to be a part of on the island. He wanted to go to the craziest party. He wants the people to be fighting each other and solving a non-issue. So many people that claim to be base fell for it immediately. And I debated Alex Jones. He got crushed, begging for a rematch.
He jumped in on it too.
And he was saying insane things in the debate. He said that the Chi-Coms were controlling Hollywood. He was declaring war on the Muslims and declaring a crusade and saying that this stuff is ridiculous.
It's China.
He's talking about the Chinese. He just says a million things at once, and then he starts, it looks like he had a demonic exorcism. They sent Steiny flew into LA from LA to New York City to say I'm the most hated person, and he got crushed. So, I mean, this was really popular for a while, but, now when you look back, it just looks really dumb. I saw so many people hold up signs and billboards, deport SNEAKO. Where am I going to go? Even James Fishback, who I promoted heavily, he's running for governor of Florida. And, I hope he's not a shill. Apparently he's anti-APAC, but he's saying that I should go back to the Middle East because I'm spreading a foreign religion, but he's a Catholic. Catholicism is not an American religion. This is from, first off, Jesus is from Palestine.
From the Middle East.
And second, the Vatican is in Italy. So this is a foreign religion based off your logic. And then he starts saying that you're spreading Islamism, which what even is that? This is just a word that sounds like Zionism that you could apply to Islam. So I think this did expose a lot of the grifters.
No, there's so many of them came out. I couldn't believe all the people, even guys like Elijah, like you said. In fact, Elon, real quick, the H-1 visas, that's actually when I lost my checkmark monetization. It wasn't Israel. It's when I'm like, hey, maybe these tech companies shouldn't be bringing in these workers for six-figure jobs and giving them to Indians. Boom, lost my checkmark.
Yeah, he chimped out. He banned... He chipped out heavily. I mean, he's an African migrant. He took away Myron's checkmark. And even at that time, I'm sure you remember, Elon would call Pablo Fuentberg a Fed. Now you see Pablo Fuentberg say, please, Elon Musk, deport SNEAKO. Please do it. And then he's calling out Laura Loomer, which is one of the most disgusting looking demons in the world. Laura Loomer, please deport SNEAKO. Just begging for my deportation, or getting on his hands and knees from the same people that want him killed and think he's a Fed. It's completely subverted.
Well, Laura Loomer has Trump's phone number. Why the fuck is that creature texting Trump? Remember, I forget what it was. There was something when she's like, it was Tucker Carlson. She's like, I was sending him, I sent him the clips of you disrespecting the president. Like, why is that crazy bitch and Mark Levine, these are the guys, these are his fucking advisors? these Israel first, like these people are insane. They only care about Israel. Like other races don't behave that way. It's bizarre. Like, what are you? You're part Haitian, you're
Filipino,
mixed. You're not like
Hungarian.
Haiti. It's just like, where did these people, I think like English, Irish. I'm not like, oh, we got to help England. But these all these Israeli people, they're Israel before America. And that's become, they say it's anti-Semitic to say it, but it becomes apparent.
Laura Loomer right now, she's tweeting saying that Americans need to arm themselves because the jihadists are going to take over. It's so ironic because she's literally too insane to purchase a weapon. The person who has been sent to a psych ward by her father, allegedly, she's the one telling Americans to arm themselves, but she can't even own one because she's insane. She's licking a dog on her stream. She is, making fun of kids getting assassinated by the IDF. This is an insane person, but look at the people that have the president's phone number. Rabbi Shmuley, the same one. Although he looks like a clown everywhere he goes, he's the one meeting with Catholic leadership. He's the one meeting with Zelensky, meeting with Netanyahu. The weirdest freaks in the world have connections to all the world leaders.
Yeah, RFK's meeting with him too. With him, he's clearly this lunatic. I don't know if it's drugs or if he's just crazy, but yet he's meeting the Dalai Lama, RFK, Zelensky, like all these figures. It's almost like they have to go bow to Shmuley. Michael Jackson had to go, oh, you got to go give your apology tour. Like, how does this lunatic have so much power? It doesn't add up. It's like almost some kind of mafia ties or something.
And it's so public with it too. I actually think that there's something deeper with him because he's just so unlikable everywhere he goes. You see with Iceland, he's the most hateable person. I think it's intentional. I don't think he's as stupid as he tries to make himself look. One of their objectives to create Greater Israel is to spread anti-Semitism throughout the world so they can justify bringing all the Jews into Israel and get more land in the Middle East. So Rabbi Shmuley, everywhere he goes, he's always seeing a Holocaust. He's in New York, and the liberals that are getting some suntan, he's saying that they're genociding him. He goes to Iceland in a gay bar to sell his dildos, and suddenly people are October 7thing him. Everywhere he goes, he's the victim. And now people just are like, this guy. And one of the main rhetoric that we see from the left is they're saying it's not Judaism, it's Zionism. It's not Judaism, it's Zionism. But Shmuley, everywhere he goes, people are like, oh my God, this guy's the worst.
Get this guy out of here.
And I think that's intentional. I think he's trying to make people hate him so that anti-Semitism spreads.
Well, I think it's funny that we're even having a debate if these people are just so unlikable or if they're trying to make people hate them. How ridiculous is that? We're trying to figure out, does this group of people, are they just that insufferable or are they deliberately trying to make us hate them?
Shmuley, I mean, if you saw the way he was able to manipulate Michael Jackson towards the end of his life, this guy's not an idiot. I don't think he's that stupid. This has got to be a character that he's sent to play. And again, the humiliation ritual that every leader has to bow down to a guy that sells dildos with his daughter in Tel Aviv. That's just
so bizarre. I have daughters. Selling dildos with my daughter is just sick. That's the most bizarre thing ever. And the humiliation ritual they go through with him or Ben Shapiro, Elon Musk, the world's richest man. He said something about Israel. He had to fly to fucking, I don't know, was it fucking Poland, Germany, wherever the fuck it is, had to fly out there and get walked through Auschwitz by Ben Shapiro. Can you imagine having Ben Shapiro walking around? SNEAKO, look, there's the shoes. You better cry at this part, SNEAKO. Here's where they gassed him. It's just like a joke. But Elon Musk had to go there, then he had to go to Israel and get a tour of the fucking wall. Like he wants to go to the festival and see oh, here's where we bombed these sand people that we let fly in. Like clearly they let them come in. I mean, I guess they didn't like Charlie Kirk noticing that. Too much noticing.
But anybody who's not righteous, this is what happens. See, Elon is a guy who wants to be worshipped. He loves his money and his clout more than anything else. Same thing happened to Andrew Tate. When he got pressed by Patrick Bet-David and Adam Sosnick for the Hitler song, immediately he says, SNEAKO did. He blames me because this is a guy who worships money and power. Elon Musk, although he's the richest man in the world, he's still a slave. So this is how they try to get you. Right now, it's good to see you. You got demonetized, but there's probably going to be a deal on the table. Hey, Jake Shields, you could be just like Lucas Gage, sit with Rabbi Mizrahi and say that you're a repentant anti-Semite. You're going to be a good Shabbos Goy and go to Goyim heaven with Lucas Gage. Look at the switch up he did. He was the guy slicing the Israeli flag with a sword, and now he's saying that he was diseased from anti-Semitism, speaking to the rabbi who thinks that idol worshipers should have the death penalty sent upon them.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that's real. I bet they're not even paying him that well. And he acts like he's a philosopher. He's one of the ones that uses the low IQ anti-Semitism. It's like, bro, you're like the most low IQ fucking idiot out there. We noticed, you look at the characters, the low IQ anti-Semitism. It was, I think, him, Nick, Adam Green. They're kind of the ones that fucking started coining that term. Those are the same ones that had the fake Fed swap plot against Dan Bilzerian, trying to be like, Dan was trying to kill people. Like Adam Green never even met this guy. And they're also all right away. There's no way Charlie Kirk, he was 100% assassinated by fucking Tyler Robinson. Hey, Ron, can you see me or no? Ron,
I can see you. I can see you.
You see me? Yeah.
I mean, what's very telling too, look what happened when Dan Bilzerian called Pablo a Fed. Lucas Gage was one of the first people to defend him. Yep. When Andrew Wilson got destroyed by Candace Owens, look who's defending Andrew Wilson, Pablo and Lucas Gage. They're also promoting low IQ anti-Semitism. They're also glazing Rabbi Mizrahi, who was laughing at Christians because they worship a Jew on Christmas. This seems like a pattern. It seems like they took the deal that Charlie Kirk, for all of his faults, had the courage to reject. They brought him to the Hamptons and they tried to pressure him. And he was texting and saying that he's not going to submit to the Jewish donors trying to control him. Look what ended up happening to him. Looks like these people took the deal. I agree with you. I don't think it was a lot of money. I think they all split that contract that was supposed to go for Charlie Kirk in little pieces. Yeah.
I bet Lucas got like $5,000 a month or something, maybe $100,000. I bet he's not getting paid much. He's such a fucking loser. Imagine selling your soul for they probably paid Nick decent. I think they kind of give you an option. Like, we're going to ruin your life, or we'll put you on all these shows. We'll give you money. We'll make you a star. And these guys, they value money and fame more than money and more than honor.
Yeah, I mean, right after I saw Lucas Gage, he went into Jeremy Boring's show, the former CEO of Daily Wire, and the first thing he's saying was about low IQ anti-Semitism. I'm like, this is so obvious, and I hope more people are able to see through it. It's never been this clear.
Yeah, he pretended to write a book, and then he's like, hey, you wrote my book, and then he sent it to me. It was just another book that someone else had written, and he put a one-page forwards, and he's like, yeah, this is the book I wrote. It's like, bro, you didn't write shit. You just added a one-page forwards, and you're pretending like you wrote a book. What are you talking about? He's like, well, re-releasing it. This guy's a fucking moron. He was out in Vegas, and all he did was just grifting, fucking begging for money, had fucking nothing, getting high as shit on ketamine, just running around. This guy's a fucking loser. And the second you make one little slip up, that's when he'll jump in. I did some gambling thing. I probably shouldn't have pushed something. Gambling's not the best thing. People lose a lot of money on it. And then I got this guy who had given money, picked him up. He starts attacking me, oh, everyone's attacking Jake. Now's the time to go after you. That's when you see who your real friends are. When when it's popular to attack you. I mean, you were just deport SNEAKO. You see, who's going to attack you when it's popular? That's who you know when people are fucking dirtbags. They just jump on the trend.
And we have to remember, everybody listening, when these important moments happen, like this Charlie Kirk debate, like with deport SNEAKO, with any of these viral campaigns, you got to remember what side people are on. That exposes what agenda they're trying to spread. Or do they really have the best? Do they want the best for this country, or do they just want some shekels?
Yeah, and lots of them shekels. Before we wrap, let's go. What's this kid, Tyson? He just won't shut up about you. Tyson Hockey, is it, or something like that?
Yeah, Hockey.
He's this little kid. He's just been yapping.
I forgot you knew. You even know who this is.
He challenged me to a fight, and then he's like, "What did he say?" And I looked at messages. He DM'd me a whole list, begging.
I saw that he was saying he was criticizing Pablo for glazing Epstein, and then now he's calling himself, and even Pablo's saying that this is a Goiper general. But it's so
that guy's
embarrassing.
such a clown. I almost feel bad for guys like that. He just cares about clout so much that he'll do anything, no dignity. It's embarrassing, because he's young, so I almost feel pity for guys like that.
I don't. People like that need to be humbled. All right, they're not going to ever learn. They're not going to change unless they are humbled. When they go down this route and thinking that they're gassed up from some Elon Musk likes on X, nothing will change their rhetoric until they get humbled.
I'm being in Florida next week. He challenged me to a fight. I'm thinking about stopping by and finding a gym.
I saw. He said he wants to do it with you, right?
I need to make sure he signs a waiver so he doesn't sue me. Give him a little fucking reality check. It's sometimes people need that. He's wake up real quick when he's all fucked up. Snap his arm if he's not careful.
Yeah, but these are Pablo's Goiper generals. So I think that's reflective of the movement right now. This dude is your general.
He said he used to look up to you, but then you attacked him out of nowhere. Didn't he attack you first?
No, I flew him to New York and paid for his hotel and let him use my equipment. It was about $1,500 because he was begging for an interview. And I said, okay, this is a young guy. Like I was trying to, I try to uplift people. I try to benefit people. Just like everybody else in the Red Pill movement. I've been very friendly and I've been very helpful to all these people that made their careers, like this new neurologist
You're one of
dude, this
the few
Albanian.
guys that's actually helpful.
Zerka says I made his career. Pablo says I put him on before anybody. I really do help out people when I try to see the best in them. But
you helped me fucking launch my podcast,
First episode, Ian Carroll. Yeah, I mean, it was great to see. You've helped me a lot too, training and fighting. So I like to help people that I consider to be friends. But I think he just got brainwashed by Andrew Tate propaganda and thinking that Pablo likes on Twitter were going to be long term. But he doesn't seem to realize that the Goipers think he's retarded and this is not going to be long lasting. So he's there doing push-ups outside Tate's prison, I think. But anyway, this is a nothing.
Fuck up. Because guys like us would actually fucking try to give him some direction, tell him look less desperate, give the guy a little guidance because he's young. But the guy is obviously Nick's not going to care about him. It's weird. I see a lot of these streamers always say bad things about you, but you've been one of the few guys that actually seems to have any honor in streaming. It seems bizarre to me.
It's a backwards world. And to guys like that, he's Canadian saying deport me as well. There's other Goipers. Look, this guy thought it was an attack. So I'm saying you're not going to be able to create anything if you just beg people for collab. Like there's nothing interesting about you. And it's not about him. It's in general to people in Miami. There's this new generation of jesters who just stand around people famous and now they think they're famous. But if you have nothing to say, if you have no talent, nobody's going to listen to you. You can't build a career off of being a clout-chasing leech. You're just like a whore in the club, standing around a famous guy trying to get bottle service. There's no difference. You have to make something. And you did that. I mean, you started your podcast not that long ago, and you created something that's really dope and putting on people and having conversations that I don't see anywhere else, right? There's real talent there. You got to make something.
I'd also spent years doing another career, so it gave me a network where I could get famous people on easy, and I knew a lot of these people. And now I'm doing a lot of solo content too. But it's not like I would just randomly could just jump on and get these interviews. Guys think I almost feel bad to get. I'm sure your DMs are just flooded with people asking for your podcast, but it's like, bro, we just don't have time. You have to find a way to build it. Do a solo content first. That's what I would have done if I hadn't already had a name and a network able to get famous people on. But you can't just jump on and expect famous people are gonna have time to go and collab with you.
Also, what these young guys don't realize that you have to be somebody that's worth respecting. So you've had such an eclectic fighting career. People are like, okay, Jake Shields is about it. He's proved himself. Obviously, this is a man that I want to speak to, right? I've been through cancellation and I beat it. I've fought Sean Strickland and he couldn't knock me down. Like there's things that I've done. I had Elon Musk wants to deport me right now. I have intelligence agencies slandering me. I have a lot of things that I deal with constantly. People are like, okay, this is something that people respect. I'm saying this objectively, not to glaze myself. These young guys don't seem to realize, like, just because you make a Twitter account doesn't mean that you're like, what have you done? Who are you? Yeah. You can't just be a guy on Twitter. You have to be somebody, do something.
Yeah. Do push-ups in front of Tate's jail cell.
Well, the Matrix hates that. The Matrix can't stand these shirtless guys doing push-ups outside of a prison.
That was so embarrassing. And I used to, I was kind of friends. I like Tristan better, but when they threw you under the bus, that kind of was just, there's no way I can defend that. I can't defend being like, oh, SNEAKO did it with a song. I'm not going to pretend like that's okay. It just shows you the personality trait, whether you did or didn't do it, to go and try to throw someone under the bus when you're all there together. It's just not. It's not how I roll in life. I don't want to be associated with people who do. And it's kind of sad, your ex-friend, Clav, because he actually had talent when he first popped on the scene. When I first saw him, I'm like, oh, this guy's interesting. He thinks differently. And that just collapsed so fast.
So fast. I mean, if you look back to that whole situation and the club to today, if I would have heard that Clav would do a propaganda tour in Israel, I would have laughed in your face. It took 6 months for that to happen. If I thought that Pablo would start to subvert anti-Semites, as he says, to try to get mainstream institution approval, I would have laughed in your face. If I knew that Tate would immediately go on a podcast and say, SNEAKO did it, and sell me out and says he has tech teams in Israel, I would have laughed in your face. These people, I mean, look, people criticize and they say that I'm being vindictive. Tate tried to ruin my life. He amplified a dox on my family. He's put false allegations and said that I tried to human traffic him and tried to have sex with him in Romania. This is ridiculous. 4 years ago, and then in all these collabs and all these streams in 4 years, he never brought it up, and he still continued to stream. This is the false allegations that he's blaming the Matrix for putting on him. So there's no leg to stand on. And of course, if people are going to try to destroy my life and betray the Muslims and betray the movement, of course they need to be humiliated.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at the new case, to be honest, but it's like, I've been too busy. I think the other one, I think he did some things I morally disagree with. I think the charges were a little inflated and stuff, but I have no idea what he's even being being accused of. But at this point,
He
I'm
has
like, I don't even
child
care.
abuse charges that are new in this new case. He has a bunch of human trafficking charges. He has a lot of rape charges, and there's cases in Romania and the UK. So, I mean, if they think they're innocent, then they should just allow the extradition to happen and then fight the case in the UK. But right now, the only lawyer strategy, this guy's Joseph McBride, their lawyers promoting crypto pump and dumps with AI videos of Tristan and Andrew. Their only legal strategy is praying and begging Trump to prevent their extradition. That's their only hope, because they know, I mean, if they get extradited to the UK, I think the lawyer is aware they're cooked.
Yeah, I don't know about their case. Did they push a pump and dump on the crypto coins too?
Yeah, many. They had many, like a lot of different. They said the Daddy coin, the Venom coin. They were scamming their audience.
How are you going to say you're rich and then steal money from your own fans? Like Trump stole like $1 billion for his biggest supporters, and they're just kind of like, oh, we steal from the middle class, like hardworking people. You steal their money. Like I don't know. I don't think you could either. I couldn't sleep at night if I did that.
I couldn't do it. And again, if you don't know too much about the case, what's public is that Tate sold a course called the PhD, the Pimping Hose Degree. He sold information about how to pimp hoes. Pimping is illegal. Pimping is a crime. So if you think that the charges are overblown, this is a guy who blew up moving to Romania because he said publicly that they are going to be lenient on his criminal activity, that he's going to have ties with the mafia, all allegedly, in my opinion. That's why he was in Eastern Europe. And again, if people, Pablo Fuentberg is also defending Andrew and Tristan Tate, saying that they need to be freed. If he cares about white replacement, this is a guy who's pimping out European white women in Europe.
That's a fair point. I mean, yeah, and obviously a country like Romania, obviously you had mob connections. You're not out there doing stuff in a place like that. But to me, I guess my issue is, I think they definitely did some things that are morally wrong. Just the term human trafficking, if you're not actually trafficking human, it gets, I think we've got to be really clear what that is. Are you fucking, because you think like actually like kidnapping and trafficking people. I don't know exactly what he fucking did. Morally, I think it's probably not right. I think they just throw that term around a little too freely.
Right, so trafficking does become trafficking if the girls are under threat of violence. I looked into this allegedly too. I'm not an expert, but there are some instances where they're literally self-snitching and saying that when the girl would disobey, they would come in and smash the keyboard around the room. They would hold their passports against their will, allegedly, that they would try to isolate them.
Human trafficking. If they're doing that becomes.
They publicly were saying in the war room chats, allegedly, that they would prevent the women from speaking to their friends because if they were God-fearing Christian white women, then the Christianity would prevent them from trafficking themselves and being cam girls. So they tried to isolate them and prevent them from speaking to their friends. So they wouldn't have another influence in their ear telling them not to go on OnlyFans, allegedly. So this stuff is very shady.
Weird. Nick, who's Mr. Christian, that he's when obviously the OnlyFans shit is not really defensible. People morally can change. I don't know if they have, but obviously you can change in life, realize things you've done in the past is bad. But pushing OnlyFans, that's how they made a lot of their money. That is kind of morally, there's no way I could morally agree with that. I think there's difference, obviously, between, criminal and morals. But look at this, when you have a guy, if you're a Christian nationalist, and then you're like, oh, uniting with OnlyFans.
He's not a Christian.
Such a despicable.
He told me he doesn't go to church. He doesn't go to mass. As a Catholic, you're supposed to go to mass. If he was Christian, then he wouldn't be promoting this stuff. He wouldn't be promoting Klav, who's there like just kissing girls in the club for content, taking drugs, and he's literally infertile from all the testosterone he takes. If he was a Christian, none of this would be promoted.
Right. He's white genociding himself. That's a perfect example of taking all these hormones and stuff, pushing it to like a dude in his 20s to push all this shit. And that's who Peter Thiel's like propping up. It's a little bizarre. It doesn't feel natural, like how much he's been pushed. I think originally, yeah, he had a little bit of talent, it was interesting, but then the push just seemed like out of nowhere.
No, he did. But he was a good speaker. But now I listen to him speak, he's slurring his words. He sounds different. He sounds robotic. He's saying he's depressed and his mind isn't the same because of the peptides. But in the beginning, he was interesting and it was something new. And I thought that he had real potential and I tried to steer him in the right direction like I do others. I did not expect him to, and if for people that are blaming me for platforming him, did I think he was going to do a propaganda tour in Israel? Yeah. No, I didn't. I think that you were delusional.
He was interesting when you platformed him. I mean, obviously he was doing some stupid shit, some of the look maxing, but he actually had some, he thought different. It's like his whole thinking changed. It's kind of bizarre. I don't know if it's drugs, money. It's almost like they're not the same person.
It's nihilism. I mean, he was born Catholic, but he's a straight up nihilist now, and he only cares about ascending, which means as much money as possible. And the irony is, these people that spam Christ is King, do they ever tell, hey, Klav, come back to Christ? No, but they'll spam Christ is King in my chat. They'll say SNEAKO needs to become Christian. But Club, they have no problem. They have more of an issue. And even Pablo said this publicly. He says the Muslims can't be here. They went too far. Pagans? Okay, we can get behind that. He's more okay with paganism if you worship Zeus and Odin and European gods.
Muslims also adore Christ, and it's a very similar religion. But they're not paganism. Again, I personally don't hate pagans, but it seems like Islam is much more similar to Christianity than paganism.
It's
not even close.
It's objectively true.
Yeah, it's objectively true. It's not even close.
But these people don't actually care about Catholicism. They only do because it's closely associated with European values and Roman values. They want to worship their skin color the same way Ben Gvir is part of the Jewish Power Party and wants to be supreme above others. They desperately want to call others goyim. That's why you see this all the time now. You're goy, you're goy. They don't actually believe in Christian values. They want an ethno-state for themselves. They don't look at Israel and despise it. They're jealous. They want Israel for them. They don't see the genocide of Palestine and say, this is wrong. They say America should be committing this genocide. It's jealousy of this power. And America first to them does not mean prioritizing the citizens first. It means first by putting others second, by bombing others and putting them down. This is Lindsey Graham thinking. They need to bomb the world so America's on top. Oppression of others consistently because they really hate themselves. Lindsey Graham was a pedophile in Disney World. He didn't have kids. Clearly a gay man who wants to bomb the world. And at his funeral, they talked about how much he loved war. These people hate themselves. They're inferior. They're probably blackmailed by Epstein weird sex crimes. And so they just bomb the world in order to get away with their hatred of themselves. I'm seeing more people in the movement right now become a new Lindsey Graham.
Yeah. No, it's really bizarre watching people you thought you knew just like switch overnight. I think it's a combination reason some of these people, blackmail, money, personality change. It's weird watching people become different people when they like morph. I don't know what to make of it.
It's mind blowing. It's kind of dystopian seeing it all happen, especially the trajectory of my career. And for you, I'm sure it's like, what just happened?
A few of the people. Well, Nick was bizarre. He was really like all of us, but with you, he's really just infatuated with. Like, I've just seen, I don't know how much you talked about you, but I've seen so many clips. It's always just talking about you. You should have done that collab. He just needs to apologize to me. It's like he's just delusional. And I think he's losing his audience. He's going to be popular for a while. He's going to have his hardcore following, but I think he's losing a lot. Anyone that's not like in the cult retarded is being like, yeah, I'm off.
Yeah, they're obsessed. They're pretty much Antifa. I don't know if you remember the San Diego Majid terrorist attack. This happened a few months ago. This was done by Groypers. They said in their manifesto that their name online was Chudsel Groyper. One of them even mentioned Nick Fuentes as a reason why he is a white nationalist. One of them was a Mexican. His name is Caleb Velasquez. And so he's writing Nick Fuentes as a reason why he believes in white nationalism. Where do you think he got this idea? Also, he's on TikTok with the catboy ears. It looks familiar. Was this attack condemned? No. These people are insane. They start doxing me.
He never condemned that attack. That's interesting.
Never.
I think it's funny that he's a quarter Jewish and he told you kept that secret for a while. It shows you can keep a secret. That must have been so hard when he was talking all this shit.
Dude, we have a group chat, and as soon as he started saying Dan Kazarian, do you know how badly I wanted to give him that? You know how badly I wanted to say but I didn't want to, and then eventually when he started telling Laura Loomer to get the FBI on me, telling Elon Musk to deport me, I'm like, okay, this is enough. There's no gloves off now. But
he wouldn't hold any. If he had anything on dirt on you, he would use it. I get it. There's the honorable. You don't want to share things in confidence, but then you got to realize if the person doesn't have honor back and they're just trying to fucking destroy you, then fuck it. And he never really denied it. He just used kind of the word games of like, I wish. Then you realize, oh, he is. Bizarre.
But this stuff needs to be called out. It's not obsessive. What they're going to say now is they're going to say Jake Shields and SNEAKO are obsessed. It's like, no, we care about America. Everyone could tell. There's no one that's going to say that Jake Shields doesn't care about America. This movement and these subversive feds that are everywhere right now in the right wing need to be excommunicated from politics because they are holding our country back. There was one last time where people were trying to get together, and it was January 6th. It seems like so many people took a deal, ratted on others, and they all went to jail, and everything changed since then. If we want to change in our country, then one of the most important things that needs to be called out are all these subversive feds that clearly took the shekels. It's not obsessive. It's not about clout.
No.
We need change.
No, exactly. Obviously, it's a problem within, and it seems like there's a bunch of them. The Lucases, what do you think of Andrew Wilson? You think he's getting paid or just looking for attention?
Look, I like Andrew Wilson. I don't have any personal problem with him. He's always been nice to me in person. But he did say when I hosted a debate with him about 2 weeks before his debate with Candace, I hosted him and Stu Peters. Stu Peters, great guy. And he debates Stu about Charlie Kirk. And Andrew says that he was paid to host a debate class by Turning Point. So he's not saying he took a contract, but he is saying he's getting paid by Turning Point.
Yeah.
But he said it's just one time. Well, we can
How much?
publicly determine he got paid by Turning Point. So do with that information what you will.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not employed by Turning Point. It's like, yeah, you're also an independent contractor. So you're not employed by anyone. It's like they use these word games. So technically it's not lying, right? Like you don't have an employee, but it's people that pay you. So it's like, yeah, you're an independent contractor. So they don't employ you, but how much do they pay you? And have they paid you multiple checks?
And what's very telling, I don't know if you noticed this, is if people are willing to criticize Erica Kirk, what does he say in that debate with Candace? He says, Candace asked, wait, you said Erica Kirk's retarded. He says, all women are retarded. Haha, red pill. Well, the reason he's saying that is to not apologize for calling Erica Kirk retarded, to appeal to his fan base, but also alleviate himself from the guilt by calling Erica Kirk retarded. Right, Pablo Fuentberg, obviously he hates women and loves cat boys.
Yeah.
The first woman I've ever seen him defend was Erica Kirk. Oh, this poor widow is getting attacked. Wait, this obvious massage shill allegedly who met Charlie in Israel, whose father worked for Raytheon, a missile contractor for Israel. This one who's doing a world tour with fireworks everywhere, immediately blaming and forgiving Tyler Robinson at her husband's memorial. This is a clear Mossad fed, and I think most people see through it. This is the woman you're defending after hating all women. Something's off here.
Yeah, the whole red pill thing I'm sick of. It's almost like it's like worse than feminism. You get these men just crying about women are retarded, women are whores. It's just like, I don't know, do something so women will fucking stop being a whore. So women don't respect you. Make them respect you. Like maybe you're the problem. And it's just the red pill you realize is just, of course there's some real problems. So it's not like these guys aren't bringing up some things that can be real issues, but as a whole, they've turned into a bunch of like whining bitches.
How many times do you need to call OnlyFans girls whores? Like, we get the point.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, let's make a change now. We get it. You know, these women are it's not, this is the same thing about blaming the immigrants that are the result of mass immigration from these wars. Blaming the women that are the result of Instagram slop and propaganda. You are looking away at the cause of these issues. Who's giving these people this disease? If you want change, look at the source. Give them the antidote. Don't blame the people that have been brainwashed.
Yeah, I remember being on Myron's show. Like, I'm in my 40s and sitting there yelling at these little whores. And I like Myron, but I'm sitting there being like, what the fuck am I doing? Get me out of here. I'm not going to like yell at some 20-year-old girl for being a whore. Of course, there's some real issues, but this is not the solution.
No.
Anyway, anything else before we wrap up? Thanks for coming on again, too.
Yeah. I like Myron, too. I just think he shines alone doing his politics show. These red pillars, it's just a dying movement, right? And I think this Andrew Tate case is just the grand finale of the subversive red pill movement. And hopefully we could find that finale with these subversive feds and the right wing as well. So thanks so much, Jake Shields, for having me on. Keep doing great work. I love your podcast. Shout out to the Fight Back podcast. I'd love to do this again soon.
Yeah, love your stuff too. So good talking, SNEAKO.
Peace, man.